back to this. This guy says he gets asked the question a lot. So why is Chris Watts so safe in prison? And he is part of the prison reform community. And so he has done time, served his time, and now he's out and he's sharing with the world what it's like. And this is what he had to say about that.
So I love this question. I get asked all the time about specific inmates. Why is Chris Watts safe? Why is this person safe? The reality is, like I always say, time doesn't exist in prison, only opportunity. As long as Chris Watts' name is alive.
Now, that's interesting. Time does not exist in there, just opportunity, because that's all they have is just time. Can you imagine having all that time on your hands and you're not really doing anything and you've got all, yeah, no, I can't. But yeah, time doesn't exist. That's so fascinating to me. Just opportunity.
He'll be alive. When his name dies, he dies. And that's the thing. What you see on the media isn't how it works in prison. And anybody that's ever been on the inside will tell you the same exact thing. While his name is so popular in the media.
I am very interested in prison reform. And if you have any experience with this, I would love to talk to you. Of course, I'm going to have to vet you a bit because of what happened with the other person I was working with. But, and I'm also glad I have vidIQ and I went in to check to see if you guys had unsubscribed or just did what you felt was best. And there's only 620 of you left that I need to get to talk to, or maybe the 620 want to stay, and that's fine. But at least I got to like 4,000 of you. So that makes me feel really better. But anyway, I am looking for people if you are interested in coming on the show or even just doing an interview with me. It doesn't have to be a live interview. We can do it privately, that type of thing. But I would love to speak to you. My email is parawomanradio@gmail.com, and it's the women is WOMEN.
Yeah, everything he does is broadcasted. Every phone call, every letter, every relationship about his.
So his phone calls aren't broadcast, and I always wondered why we aren't hearing any of his phone calls from Dodge. Really, it is because Dodge has a thing where they don't allow those things to be released.
His night terrors and how he's the victim, this little fucking demonic piece of shit. The warden knows he's got to keep the killers and the sharks at bay.
Exactly. He's being protected, and this guy is saying he's being protected because of people like me sitting out here still talking about him, and that makes me feel like, I don't know. That makes me feel bad, but it also makes me feel like I don't want anyone to get hurt either. Even though I don't like Chris, I don't want him to be harmed in a physical way. I just don't, because I mean, he's not on death row, so he's not going to be put to death by the state. So I don't think any prisoners should put him. And I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but that's just who I am. We can be different. We can have different opinions and still get along.
He's got to take the corrupt officers that will take the hit, put them on the other side of the prison. He's got to get all the troubled convicts that will also take the hit and put them away in some type of disciplinary confinement. So a lot of times when the convicts can't get to you, they get to your family. They extort your family.
When I heard him say this, it made me feel so horrible for Ronnie and Cindy, because I just really feel like they would do anything to keep him safe. And that makes me feel horrible for them. And that's yet another thing that Chris is putting on them, and it pisses me off.
Oh, and by doing that, what they're going to have Chris Watts doing is basically working in a sweatshop, making memorabilia and selling it to all these sick motherfuckers, toenail clip-ins, whatever the fuck it is, clothes, underwear, it doesn't matter. They're going to make them sell everything. And they're going to lace the warden's pockets, the CEO's pockets. Everyone's going to get money off of him because he's living in terror every single day. And then eventually, families die. His money supply runs up. And no longer does he have lawyers and constant media checking on him 24/7. And the best part about it is He knows that. He knows that what he did caused his family to live in fear and have to.
And he's very happy being at Dodge. He has said he's very happy at being at Dodge, and he's afraid of going back to Colorado
hide and be extorted. And every single day of his life, he has to be lucky, where a convict only has to get lucky once. So look at Billy from Texas. He raped and killed all those old ladies, just disgusting fucking demonic piece of shit. He was one of the high-profile serial killers ever. 15 years later, they find him in a Texas prison with his throat cut because no one cared anymore. He was once an international.
You can tell this guy's from TikTok. They can say a lot more over on TikTok than they can here on YouTube.
They knew that motherfucker was coming into the prison, beat him so bad. And we're talking about a government informant that was on the run for almost 30 years. Gets to prison, gets wheeled into a cell, and gets the eyeball beaten out of his head. It's like a game of chess. You just have to be smart. Slowly but surely, someone's going to pay someone, and he's going to get hit up. That's just the way it goes. I mean...
So he's just basically predicting that it's just a game of time. And that's terrifying, too, because Chris must know that it's just a time game. And living that way, to me, doesn't seem as comfortable as I think that Chris is in there. Like, I kind of envision him feeling pretty comfy, but there must be that little part that niggles, back in his brain that tells him, like, it's just a time game. Like, when your case becomes unpopular, and it probably will one day become unpopular or not as popular, but yeah. So let's move on. Here we have Nichol Kessinger knew the detectives on the Chris Watts case personally. And I thought this was interesting. I haven't even started looking at it, and the name of it is called Awful Vids. And I've never heard of this channel before. You're seeing what I'm seeing. You are. Okay. Let me move forward past the music. Sorry, I think it's all music.
Did Kessinger know the detectives personally? What detective gives out their mobile number? You usually have to ring the station.
Ooh, he's snitching. Everybody
Is that true? Do detectives... I think detectives now have mobile phones that they carry on them all the time. I know when I was a social worker, they gave us phones, and we, like, especially if you were on call, you had to keep your phone on all the time. So, I don't know. I think that's maybe a stretch. And yeah.
Hey, dude, get...
So I would almost, this is just me, but I would go get my text messages with him from that.
Her co-worker. She's a terrible human being. I won't be surprised if she helped him unalive her. She is odious. She gets mad over little crap. Interesting.
Night, and I would sync them up to that.
And then there's Jim. I have to do just an episode about Jim. Jim fascinates me.
Time frame, because there was texting in between that. So I think
which one? The Jim is the one in the front, right? And it looks like, I don't know. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but I think it's, yeah. I think that Jim and Chris were together. Yeah.
What happened is he called me on
what I find interesting is most guys won't ride behind another guy on a motorcycle. I only know that because my ex-husband had a motorcycle, and they used to call it riding bitch. And so this is what makes me think like, yeah, Chris and him were together because he's got a guy riding behind him.
That first call.
But things might be different now. You know, there are, and I'm so happy that there's changing views on masculinity, because I think we put too much pressure on men to be masculine. Like, they're human beings. They have feelings, and we basically for a long time took that out of men, and so I'm glad we're allowing them to, you know, reclaim that. So I don't know if what I said was offensive or not.
And then there's that gap between the first call and the second call. In that gap, that was when I FaceTimed for a few minutes, and that was when I got.
What does this say? Saying this is where NK works, so searched it. RK Mechanical Inc. in Denver. Oh, this person has some new information. Have you guys heard that NK works at Mechanical Inc. in Denver? So now we know she doesn't have a new name and she's still in Colorado. Do I have any PIs out there? Because I don't know. If this is too much, delete it, but it's public info. Let me look and see when she made this, or they made Awful Vids made this. This was just made 7 days ago, you guys. So what do you guys think? Do you think she's working at this place and she really hasn't changed her name? Did she just like, because we know she likes to play with her name spelling. Did she just play with the spelling again? Also, I saw somebody read a letter to NK's husband. Is NK married, you guys?
Got up out of bed because I was just having trouble sleeping, and I was like, I went and did laundry. That's what I did. I went like, put some clothes. I just put some.
She did laundry, and Chris did laundry. Interesting.
Clothes in the dryer, and then I think I called him back, and then we continued to talk. So that little gap right there.
But I can't remember a word that we said. Oh, I do remember he was laying on a bed with no sheet. I do remember that.
Between those two big phone calls at the very beginning of the night. Yeah. I mean, not the very beginning of the night, but the big ones at the first two.
So I have seen that the workers have said that they always acted like a couple and lovey-dovey shit at work. Everyone knew about it, and they would leave work and then come back together, you know.
So in between that gap, there's like a quick FaceTime.
So do you think that 2 minute and 44 second is the FaceTime?
The one at the very end?
Yeah. Well, so there's
I don't even think the FaceTime.
So then this is more of the conversation that the coworker is having, and they say, well, I get that, but she legit FU'd Chris Watts. Like, is that the girl he was having an affair with?
On there.
Okay,
because the FaceTime occurred in between those two big phone calls. That like, you know.
Okay.
Because it was like one big phone call, and then there.
I do wish this person would show the times on the dates on these messages, though.
And then there's a FaceTime, and in the FaceTime short, it's only a few minutes, and then there's.
Okay, they're saying that her dad was the boss of Anadarko and also the boss of Chris Watts. What is this? Very masculine bi guy looking for trouble. 5'11", 170, 30 W. What does that mean? 30 is he a 30 white guy? 30-year-old white guy? Average brown, hairy body, white, looking for friendship, one-on-one sex relationships. I'm looking for another guy to get into some trouble with, whether it be hanging out, playing some vid games, watching a game, college football fan, hiking, 4x4ing, good beer, whiskey, etc. Chris West doesn't strike me as someone that likes good whiskey, but I think he pretended a lot to be somebody. Only into other masculine guys like myself if things go past a friendship. Well, Trent wasn't really masculine. Cars, trucks, anything with a motor does getting Nut off regular count as a hobby. Yuck. Scene casual, drink socially, drugs no, zodiac Gemini. Is Chris a Gemini? 7.5 inches, cut, oral, HIV negative.
Probably just a few more
You're obviously saying that's Chris's profile.
minutes.
There's
And that's probably
so
what?
there's a few more calls on Tuesday. So 112 is the 2 minute and 44 second call. That lasts till approximately 114, and then there's a long gap until 150. So another 45 or 35 minutes, and then there's a 7-minute phone call. That phone call lasts till.
So I'm talking about
Nichol Kessinger, a project engineer at Arcade Mechanical Inc. Relationship likelihood weak. I don't know what this is, but this is obviously showing that she works at Project Engineer, and it doesn't look like she changed the spelling of her name at all, if this is true.
the two at the very beginning of the
Okay,
two,
the two long
really
ones?
long ones.
And is
Yeah.
that when he's talking about the kids?
And then here, Shea Dolbney says, well, I get that, but she legit, oh, this is the conversation between the co-workers. It means she's a cheater. And so Shea Dolbney says, well, I get that, but she legit, F you, Chris Watts, like, is that this the girl he was having an affair with? And Joseph Esther Angleter says she is a terrible human being. I won't be surprised if she helped him unalive her. She is odious. I mean, when you say somebody's odious, you really don't like them. She gets mad over little crap. And then he says, yep, always acting like a couple and lovey-dovey. SHIT at work. Everyone knows it.
Yes, with the sheet. Okay, so yes. I will help you line this up. Like, I almost wanted, I was like, I can't.
There's her dad, Dwayne Kessinger, lives in Denver, Colorado, from Denver, Colorado. Oh my gosh, this person is coming with the receipts. Charlotte, what is this? This is text message 8/12/2018. Charlotte said, where did you meet this man? Nikki on 8/12. Oh, these are the texts that were between Nichol and her friend Charlotte. And then Nichol says, I don't know, man. Sean never ATE me out me one time. Really? How long were you with him, Nikki? Anyway, Charlotte says, I don't think it's you, man. Some guys are lame. Yeah, that's true. Lame with that stuff. And then she says, feel like every dude I meet has kids these days. That's what happens when you get in your 30s. I meet has kids these days, and if they don't, they have commitment issues or some BS like Sean. Man, I'm so glad I don't have to date men under 30 anymore. No offense to the men under 30, but it takes a little bit of time for them to get it together usually. Charlotte, what's the dude's name? Kids are cute. It's a package deal though, and that's true. And then Charlotte says, that's awesome.
Try to reassure me, or me calling him like.
Let me see if there's anything else. More of the conversation that they had. And then, is there anything new that she puts in here? No. Okay, I will put the link to this, of course, down in the description. I urge you to go and watch it. You can watch it in its entirety. We skipped around quite a bit. Let's move on. Let me see what you all are saying. Hi, Rebrand. Hi, Country Shine Girl. And above Dwayne's profile is a meter that says watts. Oh my gosh, I gotta go back and see that. I wish I had noticed that when I was doing it. Let me see. Dwayne. Where is the above Dwayne Kessinger? I don't see what you're saying. So NK finally tells Charlotte about Chris the day before the unaliving. I know, like she knew that they would finally be able to be a couple. Yeah, that is like I say this. I go around like 90% of the time thinking, look at the meter. What do you mean when you mean meter? Like, what does meter mean? I guess I don't know what meter means because I don't know where to look. Because I don't know where the meter is. But you all know what it is. I feel kind of stupid now. I thought I'd check out your lives, even though you have a green bird. He's in the back room right now. He's not very happy. What color bird do you have? He actually, you guys, when I was so upset, you know, when I thought my channel was going to be taken down, I got really upset because I worked 2 years on this channel and I put a lot of work into it. And I got so upset and I cried. I really cried. And he got so upset. He plucked all his chest hairs, feathers out. He plucked all his pretty he has like a beautiful red breast and orange of feathers, and he plucked them all out. So I have yet another animal that I have to manage my emotions around because they get so upset when I get upset. But he's doing better. They're starting to come back and it's looking better. It looks like an electric meter since some electricity is measured in watts. I feel really stupid, but I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm looking at the picture and it's probably something so simple, but I really am a blonde. I was a blonde before I turned gray. So let's keep moving on. You have a big red bird. You have big red birds. Oh, I love birds. I worked at the bird sanctuary before I got Junie to make sure, you know, and I just love them. I love it's above his head. Okay. This thing above his head. Nah, I don't know. I'm not going to see it because I don't know what you're talking about. I have, I guess, a big block because I don't know. But moving on, and I'm sorry, you guys, I don't understand what you're saying. Moving on, I found this. Hold on, I gotta fix my glasses are smudgy. Hold on. I can't see without them either. Okay. Moving on Thought Catalog. This is a master list of everything shady about Chris Watts' mistress, Nichol Kessinger. And I thought this was really interesting. Oh, scarlet macaws. Yes. Do you free fly your macaws? U.S. redheads need to stick together is my motto. Amen. I used to be a redhead. I was a redhead for about 10 years, and now it's just when you see me red, it's a wig. But that's okay. I miss being red. Like, I really do. Above his head. Oh, yeah, you have already said that. It looks like an electric meter since some electricity is measured in watts. Okay. I found this. This is a master list. Oh, hey, guys, make sure you give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm. And if you like my content, be sure to subscribe. That's totally free. And if you decide you don't like me, you can just unsubscribe. We're over 3,000 now, and I can hardly believe it. And when I say I mean over on YouTube. Over on X, we're like at 1.7 thousand, and Twitch, we have about 2 followers. It's just been really hard to stream to YouTube or to Facebook lately, and then you've got to do all this stuff to stream to Instagram, and so I just haven't been. And then TikTok, you need a whole different. Yeah, it's just not easy to stream to those lately. So I've been doing X and Twitch. But here is and hi guys, hi to everyone, where you're watching me from. A master list of everything shady about Chris Watson's mistress, Nichol Kessinger. Chris Watts and his co-worker, Nichol Kessinger, began having an affair, or if you believe that, in June 2018. 2 months later, Watts unalived his entire family. At the beginning of the case, I was firmly on the side of Nichol Kessinger. I believed she was just a co-worker that ended up having an affair, and whether or not she knew Chris Watts was married, I didn't believe she had anything to do with the unaliving. However, the more I read about Nichol and the case, the more it really seems like she was planning an insurance fraud scheme that morphed into an affair and then a plan to eliminate Chris's family, so the two of them would be free to be together and collect insurance money together. Here are some things about Nichol and the affair that just don't make sense. See, I'm like this. Most of the time, I believe she had nothing to do with it. And then, I mean, the other times, it's like, maybe. Maybe. Not intentionally, but they are fully flighted and fly on harness. I want to try to get Junie to go on a harness. He goes outside in an enclosed stroller, but I fear that he's not getting enough sunshine. So I might harness train him. I've tried, and he's like gone literally crazy with it. So here are some things about Nichol and the affair that just don't make sense. After failing the polygraph, Chris gives up remarkably easy and confesses to the crimes. Why? Perhaps because the police immediately halted their investigation afterwards. If Chris were a sociopath capable of unaliving his pregnant wife and young children, would he really confess so easily? But I also think he's like a weak person. So, yeah, I think he would. Kessinger claims when she met Watts at work, I'm changing words. I don't know why I'm doing that today. Kessinger claims she met Watts at work. She was unaware he was married because he didn't have a wedding ring around her. Many men with similar jobs won't wear rings to work because they can be safety hazards. My ex-husband was a screw machine, and I remember he would leave his ring at home a few times, and he would take it off. It would ruin the ring. He eventually mentioned his wife and children, but Kessinger claims he said, okay, I got to let him back in here because he's like just at the other end of the door screaming. Hold on. This is what happens when you live in a little space. There's nowhere to put them. Okay. So he eventually mentioned his wife and children, but Kessinger claims he said he and Shanann were separated. She said she discovered Watts was still married when watching a news report. I don't believe any of that. I mean, she also says she discovered that Shanann was pregnant through the news report. I don't believe a word of that, because she was so meticulous about her life. You think I believe that she didn't know that Chris was married and that she wasn't sitting on Shanann's Facebook page? Come on. Computer records show that Nichol frequented Shanann's Facebook page, where Shanann announced her pregnancy and made frequent updates about her family. No one looking at Shanann's Facebook page would be under the impression she was nearing the end of a mutual divorce, as Nichol claimed to believe. I mean, yeah, this is all just complete common sense, right? Rebrand says, now see, I'm aware he's there, but it's just background. Oh, it's just the background that you guys were saying. Yeah, I think that's why I can't see it. Is it's in the background. I can't do those things where you look at, you have to like relax your eyes and look at a picture and something pops out at you. I can't do those. I wish I could. I mean, there's something different in my brain. I think that I can't do those. I don't know what it is. Chris and Nichol met at Anadarko. Okay. Yeah. I opened it a long time ago. Chris and Nichol met at Anadarko Petroleum, the same place Chris returned to hide the bodies of his wife and children. As a safety officer, Nichol knew tons of information about the site Chris worked at, including that it was a perfect site to possibly commit insurance fraud, which would, I think they're going along the lines with the insurance fraud that Chris put the gasoline and stuff in the truck because he was going to blow up the site. I think this person is going along those lines, which would require the kind of explosion that would destroy bodies and evidence. The first time Kessinger says she felt anything was off about Watts was the night of Shanann's murder. Before Shanann got home from her business trip, Chris and Nichol FaceTimed. Chris was lying on his bare mattress. Yep, that was weird. Since it was late at night, Nichol said she thought this was strange. When the bodies of these victims were... I don't think I'm going to get this. This is not going to be monetized. I feel it in my bones. It's going to be flagged. They were wrapped in sheets. The phone call was 111 minutes long. Nichol has not been able to tell police what they talked about during this call, though she was interviewed less than 72 hours later. And she could tell conversations that they had months ago. But that 111-minute phone call, amnesia. How do you say that? Amnesia. I have amnesia. I'm not saying it right. Kessinger claims that after a while, I have amnesia. That's it, amnesia. I also can't say words right. And I also cannot do accents. Kessinger claims that after Watts appeared to be too casual about his family missing, she contacted the police and told them, "Do you want to come over here and hang out with mommy? Come here. Yeah, you give me a kiss. Do you want mommy to get you? Do you want mommy to get you some tweets? I'm gonna get him some tweets. Hold on. Come here. I know, it's so exciting. We got some millet in. Millet is his favorite next to safflower seeds. And I tried to grow millet and it failed horribly. Okay, here we go. Kessinger claims that after Watts appeared too casual about his family missing, she contacted the police and told them about the affair. That is not true. Either she was tipped off by Anadarko or she was tipped off by her friend. However, this was after the police were already informed about the affair by supervisor at Anadarko Petroleum. Nichol has no alibi for the time of the murders. Interesting. I could have just done this whole page as a live. They have right here the full interview of Nichol Kessinger, and we have that on our page as well. Not me talking over it. I go down into the comments with you guys, so we have that interview as well. I'll put it somewhere around here, either in the description or in a card. Sorry, easy. I was moving my hand too close to him. Even though their relationship was only 2 months long, police discovered wedding dress shopping along with phrases like marrying your mistress and man I'm having an affair with says he will leave his wife In her Google search history, police also found that she had been searching Google for Chris Watts as early as August 3rd, 2017, almost a full year before she claims they spoke for the first time and months before she met him at work. I believe they met at the gym, personally, when the Resheks were living in the house and he couldn't exercise downstairs. I think he went to a gym, and I heard an interview, and I've never been able to find it again, and I wish I'd saved it. But it was an interview where this woman from a gym, she had just had oral surgery, and I can't believe she even did the interview, but she was talking about how NK wouldn't talk to any of the women at the gym. She would always wait for them to not be exercising with their boyfriend or husbands or whatever, and then she would go up to men and start talking to them, and she was just that kind of woman, you know. Oh, you're talking about my video in the background? I like to take the thumbnails and animate them and then put them in my backgrounds. You'll see me do that a lot. The morning of the unaliving, a neighbor saw a truck similar to the one Nichol owned outside the Watts house. That was the older lady that did that, wasn't it? The one that lived, if you were standing in front of the houses, the one that lived to the right, not Nate's, but the other one. Okay, I move my hands when I talk, Junie. You're going to have to move if you don't like it. At the time, Nichol phone pinged a tower in Frederick, Colorado, where the Watts family home was. Kessinger lived in a town 25 minutes away, and hadn't it never pinged like that before? That was like the first time it pinged. This is a really good thought catalog, and they even include videos to go along with it. So Nichol tried to destroy her SIM card before giving. Yeah, she like deleted stuff and just tried to destroy the SIM card because she was just so sick of Chris. He just roasted her out. Nichol tried to destroy her SIM card before giving her phone to investigator. She also deleted texts and photos of Watts, and her search history show her looking to see if cops would be able to read her deleted messages. So, like, not only did she know like, it was happening, like, she was thinking about it. Like, if I have to turn my phone over, can they read the messages? Phone records show that Nichol and Chris were in close contact the night before, morning of, and day following the murders. And they don't even look at her. She's all over this. Anyway, Chris told law enforcement, this case sometimes makes me so agitated and angry. Chris told law enforcement he tried first to subdue Shanann with Oxycontin. The police were not able to establish how he could have gotten Oxycontin, as it had not been prescribed to him. He said where he came from is a secret that he will take to his grave. This TikToker has a good theory about where it came from. Well, let's see. I hope it's there. I don't know if it's there. Let me see. Because I have a theory too. That's somebody that I went to school with. What's he doing? I have to show you. This is somebody that I went to college with. He was also, we pledged the same Greek society. What I pledged, we were a co-ed. We were the first co-ed one in the nation. So he's technically my brother.
Jarvis, I'm here to strike a deal on behalf of the Murder Mystery Company. The experts in mystery and... sorry. The experts in mystery and... Oh, bother. Oh my goodness, there's been a murder!
Oh, of course. I hope they picked him up. Of course, Michael would have a murder mystery go up on Shark Tank with a murder mystery company. I love that. Anyway, going back to this, I don't see the theory, but my theory. Hold on, where is this that I was reading? Oh, there it is. My theory is that I know somebody who worked with Amanda, the Chick-fil-A girl. They worked with Amanda, and she had a severe addiction to opiates. And I mean, I think that's where he got that. I think that's, if he didn't get it from Amanda, he was friends with people that liked opiates, and I think it's very easy. It could have very easily came from Amanda. Let me make sure I have you on the same spot. I don't. I gotta share my screen again. Okay. Let me see if you guys are saying anything too. No. I have you guys spellbound. Okay. This text from Nichol to Chris that says, I want to be part of it. Being in your life is something I crave. All right.
Okay, when you want someone to work.
Show. Where's the sound? Hold on.
Being in your life is something I crave. If you want things to work out between a husband and wife who are having problems, you don't pursue a sexual relationship. You also don't make plans for the future, like what is going on here. So it's not forced in the sense of, when are you going to leave them? I thought you say you're going to leave them. It's not that. There's different ways to manipulate and to force someone and give someone the idea of that's what they want. And that's exactly what happened. Also, they were looking at marriage proposals, like both of them were. And she was looking at wedding dresses. Like, come on. She was pushing him towards leave Shanann, don't work it out. It just wasn't malicious, I guess.
Yeah, it seems very strange to me. Yeah. The wedding dress shopping and the whole, I told him to work it out. Like, I told him to go to Colorado or to North Carolina, but the whole time you're sending. Somebody said this the other day, and I'm for sure I have to look who said it, because I have to be able to quote who said it. But she called Nicole's her tuna can photos. Her tuna can photos. She was sending her tuna can photos all over the place to Chris, telling him to put them in, the secret calculator. And you want to tell me that the sky is green and the grass is blue? No, Nichol, I'm not buying it. What's this? There may be security footage of Nichol at the Watts home the morning of the unaliving. Oh, that's Alex.
The neighbor's house that morning. If you look at the picture on the right, you can see that.
So, oh, you can't stop it? Yeah. How do I go back? Anyway, well, what Alex is saying, and we talked about this the other night, the photos of Chris walking back and forth from the garage. Many people think that in some of those photos, because of the gate and the way the shadow is, and they think they see a ponytail and maybe even the purse. And there's, there's people that have really looked at that footage. And I when I look at it, I guess I can see like the feminine aspect of it, but Chris was getting the feminine. His body was kind of turning more feminine to me. He was getting a very thin, tiny waist, and it almost looked like he wore like a waist trainer. It looked like he was doing something like that. In her interviews, Kessinger avoids saying the names of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, or Nico. Yep. And there's also a video that Watts the Obsession did, Kelly, where they thought that Chris had unalived the Shanann because he was taking his hands and making it into like if you were to put your hands around somebody's neck. And then they went into Nicole Kessinger's interview, and when she's talking about it, she finally says, Shanann, she like makes that gesture where it's like she was squeezing her finger, her hand together, like if you were to put it around someone's neck. Very strange. Since Chris Watts confessed to his crimes, Nicole Kessinger has deleted her social media, left her job, and moved away from their community. She may be in the witness protection program. I don't think she is, to be honest with you. And so I think we could even add a few more strange things on this thought catalog, but this is really good. Hi, I love MJ. And leave Jim alone, in my humble opinion, were involved. Yeah, I am going to do something about leave Jim alone. I'm very interested in leave Jim alone. I saw this too. The chilling final text killer dad Chris Watts sent to Mistress before harming his whole family. Cheating Chris Watts was responsible for the unaliving of his pregnant wife and their 2 children. Mistress Nicole Kessinger told police about his strange behavior. The mistress of unaliving killer Watts, I don't know why I said that. The mistress of Chris Watts revealed the haunting final message he sent her before he was finally caught. Nicole was having an affair with Watts before he brutally put his hands around his pregnant wife, Shanann, and smothered the couple's 2 young girls, aged 4 and 3, in August of 2008. A string of texts between the 2 were revealed to police in an interview as the net closed in around Watts, who was playing the haunted victim of a lost husband and father at the time. Nicole told police she texted her then secret partner, if you did something bad, you're going to ruin your life. And if you did something bad, you're going to ruin my life. I promise you that. See, that too, that right there puts her back into the 90% didn't do it for me. It's just, I get so like, I don't know. Hauntingly, Chris Watts replied, I didn't hurt my family, Nikki. Like, but to set this up, did she say, hey, now we're going to do this. I'm going to text you this, and this is what you're going to say. Just don't forget the person that you knew me to be when you were with me. Watts is now serving 5 life sentences, as well as another 48 years in prison for his lone crimes. This is interesting. His lone crimes. The Mirror wants you to know that it's his lone crimes. They get this from NK's camp. He managed to avoid the death penalty after later abolished. Was it abolished in the state of Colorado? I didn't know that. Or is it abolished in Colorado now, the death penalty? As Watts played the victim, he told Live News about the missing wife and children. Yeah, we all know that. So that was the last conversation between them. And then I found this too on my travels. I found this article from the New Zealand Herald. And it's on October 29th, 2020. And it says Chris Watts' mistress, Nicole Kessinger's requests 2 years after horror unaliving case. I didn't understand what it meant, so I thought we'd look into it together. Chris West's mistress was just as shocked. Okay, so they're taking the general mainstream news view on this, that she was a victim, Nichol. Chris Watts' mistress was just as shocked as the rest of the world when she found out her lover was a murderer. In Nichol Kessinger's eye, he was a soft-spoken father of 2, but that couldn't have been further from the truth. Instead, he was a lying murderer. Unalived his pregnant wife, Shanann, 34, along with her 2 daughters. I'm sorry, I'm reading it in a way that I just don't believe that this was the way it went. Kessinger, who has not been seen publicly or heard from since giving evidence in Watts' case, has now reportedly applied to change her name since being linked to the brutal unaliving. The 32-year-old, believed to have been living in witness protection, was due to have a hearing late Tuesday after requesting to change her name in Jefferson County, Colorado. Earlier this month, according to the Daily Mail. So they're saying that she requested a name change. And then they're going into the relationship. And that's it. Oh, wait, no. She said she was tricked into believing Watts was a loving father, finalizing a divorce, and she had no idea his wife. Yeah, right. And she has some oceanfront property to sell you in Oklahoma. I don't think there is a logical explanation for what he did. She said it's a senseless act and it's horrific. Okay, let me try to scan this. In documents released by Weld County, Colorado District Attorney's Office, Ms. Kessinger, who also spent 45 minutes Googling how to prepare for anal sex and the anal sex guide on the night before the unaliving. I always kind of figured she was already doing that type of stuff, but interesting. Was that something she knew Chris liked to do and she was going to finally offer it up? That's something to think about. Meanwhile, a search of Watts' phone found hidden pictures of a nude or semi-naked Miss Kessinger. They were located in a secret calculator app that was only accessed by typing in a 4-digit code. In late 2018, Radio Online reported Miss Kessinger had moved to Colorado to another state, started a new job, and was placed in the witness protection program. She has since received several threats, public shaming, and could be considered one of the most hated women in America. I think that still holds true, and it's actually getting stronger. A source told local media she plans to start fresh with a new name, new town, and ultimately a new identity. If I could afford it and I was Nichol, I would seriously think about like reconstruction surgery of some kind. Her name change request comes after the recent aired Netflix documentary American Unaliving, the Family Next Door, the analysis Watts' murder, but that being the name. It also features police interviews with Kessinger. She was adamant about the fact that she never would have pursued a relationship or even agreed to date Watts had she known he was still with his wife. Sure. My name is about to be like slandered for probably a while. Yeah, I think so. I don't know how long it's going to take to heal. It seems like the wound is getting bigger, NK. But I would not be surprised if it's going to be hard to go out in public sometimes for a couple of years, she explained. And that really hurts me. I'm just like, this is a horrible, horrible thing. Like, how dare you, you know? And people aren't going to understand that. No, they're
anguish that I've caused your family. This is a travesty that I never thought could or would occur. Shanann, Belle, Celeste, and Nichol are 4 beautiful souls that will live on forever in heaven and in our hearts. I know you must hate me for what I've done, and honestly, I would be surprised if you didn't.